Hello, sorry I haven't made too many videos recently, but I'm still here. Um, I was just thinking about how I'm in a quiet room now. I've got the window cracked so I can hear a little bit of outdoor noise, but I just don't think about the sound. Like I have it, but like now I'm in a quiet room like all the time, or not all the time, but like pretty often, like when I sleep and there's no background noise and I just don't even think about it. I just go to sleep. And that is quite the opposite of how I felt in 2021 when it was almost impossible to go to sleep. And being in a quiet room was just sort of brutal. um, so, I mean, it was so bad that I needed to take medication and things like that. Zoloft and Ativan and a sleeping medication, three at one time, just to feel normal. And now I just feel normal and I don't need any medications. So I just like to make videos like this sometimes just to point out how you can go from the depths of hopelessness with this tinnitus to it being like nothing. And that's, for me, so hard to understand that you can have such extremes of experiencing tinnitus. Um, but I've always had that formula of making sure you go to the doctor, make sure you get tested, that there's nothing terribly wrong with you. And chances are super likely that there is nothing wrong with you other than you have this sound. Now, that's something that's difficult for the brain to cope with at first, but it's important just to first get that, what's that word, that get where you can know that there's nothing medically wrong with you, because that gives you one small step of assurance that even though you have this sound, nothing's going to happen to you. And that's more for your brain than anything else, because it gives you one less thing to be anxious about. And then after this, you do some background noises to help you to be able to tune it out. You find some noises that are similar in sound to what you have in your ear or wherever it is. And it helps you to tune it out a little bit. At first, it's difficult. And as you go about talking about tinnitus, the language you choose to describe it can be very crucial to your recovering. So if you're always saying that it's really unbearable, I can't sleep, I can't deal with this, my life is ruined, I'm gonna have this sound with me for the rest of my life. Those kinds of thoughts, those kinds of words can have a strong impact on your brain's ability to deal with the sound. And it's kind of amazing that as you start to change your language, and I did it just sort of out of spite almost, starting at sometime in the fall of 2021, I decided I would say, I love the sound. It's a beautiful sound. It helps me to know that I'm safe, that I'm alive, that nothing's going to happen to me. It doesn't bother me anymore. I like the sound. It's a beautiful sound. And I would say things like that over and over again. And again, this is for the brain chemistry here. It's whether it's true or false, or that's not so important as it is to how you can train your brain to think about it differently, and then you actually recover a lot. Because one of the things the brain loves to do is solve problems. And when you tell the brain, we've got a really big problem here, the brain will just go into overdrive trying to solve that problem. So when you say, well, we got this problem, I can't get rid of the sound in my ear, it won't go away, it's driving me crazy, I can't sleep, blah, blah, blah. Your brain is going to go into overdrive trying to solve it, and then you're in this stuck situation. So you have to help your brain to realize, actually, nothing is going to go wrong here. And actually, there's a lot of sounds we have in our lives. I've made the example before of like maybe someone who lives near a loud street. and there's always sound coming from the street that you can't turn it off. Or, even when you're trying to go to sleep, there's sound from the street. It won't go away. But somehow, maybe when you first move into this place, just like when the tinnitus first moved into your brain, it's like you can't make it. You can't go to sleep. There's this new house, all these street noises outside, maybe people yelling sometimes, ambulances going by, cars, and it's hard to deal with. But then usually you talk to the same person a month or two later and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about all that. I'm fine now. So the same thing can happen with tinnitus. It's like you can just get where you realize, okay, well, actually there is sounds going on out there down on the street. Even people yell sometimes, ambulances, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm fine here in my room where I sleep, and I'm able to sleep at night, and there's no problem. Nothing's going to happen from the street. On the other hand, if you start thinking about maybe somebody from the street is going to break into my house, I hear them yelling. Maybe there's violence going on outside. Maybe somebody has a gun. As your brain goes into overdrive thinking about all the possibilities of what could happen with all that street noise down there, guess what happens? You have trouble sleeping, you have anxiety. And it's the same thing with tinnitus. But when we apply logic to this, after you've gone to the doctor and they check you and tell you, there's nothing wrong with your health, logically, everything is fine. But I know your brain doesn't want to accept that at first. It's like, it's not fine. But I have to tell you, I'm sitting here right now in a quiet room. I've got the window cracked a little bit. You can see it's cracked a little bit. But otherwise, it's a quiet room. And I can hear a little bit in the background. There's like an interstate, maybe half a mile from here. So it's got a little bit of a whiz, a continuous sound from it. But like, I hear the tinnitus. It's stronger in my right ear now, and it's just a constant ringing sound. And I'm just used to it, I certainly wasn't used to it in 2021, but I'm used to it now, and it's just like another sound, just like the sound from it. But even if I'm in a quiet room, like I can easily read a book, or just maybe surf my phone, or things like that, and I don't even really give it any time. I don't think about this sound anymore. It's been a long journey getting to this place, and I would say I've maybe even made progress in this area. Even this is what, more than 2.5 years later, I'm still getting a little bit better in terms of my ability to cope with it. I mean, I've been pretty good for a good year now. But it took me more than a year, to get where I was okay. I would say, I believe I started making, you could check me because I haven't checked. I believe I started making these videos in the fall, approximately, of 2021. It could have been late summer, but somewhere in that time period. And that was when I was just determined I was going to learn to deal with it. And I remember I watched some other videos. Some of the best videos I watched were when people said, I have tinnitus and I'm okay, and it doesn't bother me anymore. And there were some other videos where just people were selling all kinds of things, selling their services, counseling. I was also had trouble sleeping, so people wanted to sell me on their program to learn how to sleep better. And there were devices and medications and diet plans, and I was just like, I hate all this stuff. I don't even think it's going to help me. And then I would read on Reddit about people having horrible experiences with tinnitus, and I was like, this is frustrating. So then I heard about this thing called habituation, and I guess I had heard about it, but I was just like, I think it's a thing. And I remember there was one guy, he's probably okay, but at the time he was like, had a video about meditating to tinnitus. And it's like, you go to a quiet place and you close your eyes and you listen to the sound. And I was just like, I hate this. I was like, I don't want to sit here and listen to the sound. It's not helping me. I'm getting a worse attitude about it. And that's kind of what led me to thinking, well, if meditation is not working for me, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I said, I'm going to change the language. And I had been listening to some Tony Robbins videos too. And I'm like, if I change the language about how I think about it, maybe it might help. And it did. So that's mostly, that's one of my main strategies now. I did a lot of videos earlier about like diverting your attention to other things. And that's a whole nother topic that I've made many videos on, but that's one other area of focus. So, okay, well, this is my video for today. My videos may be a little bit less, I won't publish them quite as much over the next week or so. And then hopefully I'll be back to normal. And who knows, I may surprise you and have a video every day, but I do have a lot going on until about a week from now. So, okay, I'll see you on the next one.